Our rants and raves, starting with Dan Kennedy.
I have a rant for the Portland Press Herald of Maine, which ought to lighten up a little bit. There is a Republican candidate for governor named Mary Mayhew, and at her announcement, she pulled out 3 fake front pages for 3 different newspapers in Maine. One of them was for the Portland Press Herald, and it was, touting the economy or something. And the Portland Press Herald got very upset about this and sicked their lawyer on her to say, cease and desist doing this. You're making this look like fake news. Now, the Portland Press Herald is a newspaper. They can go after her, they can make fun of her, they can do anything they want. They don't need to unleash the lawyers. I would point out that another one was the Lewiston Sun-Journal. The editor of the Lewiston Sun-Journal said, we think it's great.
Good free publicity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's always a dicey. This show and others have been used in candidates' commercials, so it's always a little bit, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Those were things that we actually said, even if they were taken out of context. Here you have your paper's, front page being used as a prop with artificial content. I kind of get the pushback.
No, go after her. Yeah. Go after her. You own a newspaper.
Right. Well, how about say stop doing that? I mean, do you really? That's not. Maybe suing is one thing, but why not ask her to stop?
Don't unleash the lawyers.
Everything's lawyers.
You stop that. All right. Adam, what do you got?
I was going to rant about something that the Boston Globe did, but it turned into, I'm sort of being like Dan here, it turned into a semi-rave. So I have seen, as probably many people at this table have, many people in our BPL audience, those absurd billboards advertising an event with Tony Robbins and Tom Brady and Julian Edelman and various other people. I come in south on 1A every morning. There are like 20 of these lined up. It's like something out of Blade Runner. So the Boston Globe dispatched Mark Arsenault, very good reporter there, to provide live coverage of Tony Robbins' Wealth Summit the other day. When I saw this, I thought, oh, you got to be kidding me. I cannot believe that they're covering this thing live. As it turns out, Mark Arsenault live tweeted the event, and he was frequently hilarious. I was reading the tweets. Many of them made me laugh out loud. He captured the absurdity of this thing, but, and here's the catch, here's why it's not a full rave, when Tom Brady and Julian Edelman started speaking, he treated their comments in a sort of a straight, non-humorous way. He did not really milk the absurdity as much as when, say, Tony Robbins was on stage. But they're all pretty good. Some of them are great. Worth going back and reading what he did.
Yeah. Good. I'll go check that out. All right, Callie.
I have a rave for the reporter, Ben Jacobs, who we talked about here, who was roughed up, really physically assaulted by the now Montana Representative-elect Greg Gianforte. And so why I'm raving for him is that Gianforte has come out and apologized and said, yes, I body slammed you. Yes, I was wrong. And oh, by the way, I'm going to pledge $50,000 to the committee to protect journalists as just an extra thing to say I was really incorrect. My physical response to your legitimate question was unprofessional, he said, unacceptable, and unlawful. And my treatment of you did not meet a standard that he set for himself. So he wrote this in a letter. This was viewed by CNN. I made a mistake and humbly ask for your forgiveness. And Jacobs accepted his apology. Therein lies my rave for Jacobs, because I don't think I would have. And what I'm really happy about is that Gianforte still has to go to court later on this month, because he filed a suit, and he said he's going to say no contest. We shall see when he gets there. If he really does it, then I think he's sincere in his apology. If he doesn't, then, we'll see. No contest, that means you did it, and you should pay up. And
well, I think, we offered to pay for the glasses. And
no. You need to go to court for that. And you need to,
That statement, I can't believe I'm going to say something good about Gianforte, but that statement, coupled with the donation, living in the era of the non-apology, as we do, and also living in an era when the president says that the media is the enemy.
Right.
I grudgingly give Gianforte credit for doing what he did.
He needed to do something. All right, Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, I have a rave for Neil Cavuto of Fox News.
Really?
He had a blunt assessment of President Trump. In his show, he has a segment called Common Sense, and he was looking into the camera and speaking directly to President Trump as if he were there watching, and I'm sure he probably was at some point watching it. But what he did was he said, you know, you're out there pointing the finger and saying that the problem is fake news. But he said, you're the problem. And he pointed out how, you know, it's your tweeting, it's your scapegoating that is getting you. Yeah, and it was powerful, right? And it wasn't one of these things. Sometimes you'll have critics who will just go off on the president. But this was a very measured look that was based on facts, just pointing out step by step how the president is pointing the finger at the press, but in fact, here's what you did. Here is how you're causing your own problems. And he said, you know, are they probably treating you unfairly at some points? Yes, but the buck stops with you. And for that, I give him a rating.
Yeah, well, coming from Fox News.
And coming from Fox as well. Someone was asking, I wonder what is he getting any heat for this from Fox? But he was doubling down today on that message.
All right. So. Well, finally today, I have a rave for Hillary Sargent, who used to be an editor at Boston.com, and she also worked for WGBH News for a while. She did these charts, Chart Girl.
Right.
When she did the charts, one of the charts she did was on the Gardner Museum heist. So earlier this week, the CNN posted on its website a story about, you know, the $10 million reward. But Hillary noticed there were about 10 very specific, egregious errors. And she called the editor. The editor got right back to her. It was actually quite professional. The editor got back to her, tell us what's wrong, listed everything that was wrong. They went back, completely rewrote the piece, and then they added an editor's note, and then they changed it to opinion, because it clearly was opinion.
Wow.
So this guy bills himself as an art critic, but he's an art novelist. You know, he did a book on an art. He's a novelist. Noah Charney, I think his name is. So anyway, good for her.
When I saw that, I did a story for CNN in 2007, and I thought, well, they could have gone back and looked at that when I thought I got. But for a second, I thought, oh no, is it my story?
Well, this guy has a name in the art world, but he's a novelist. Yeah. So yeah, I guess the fiction didn't matter.